Hi, it's Anne here, and today's video is my 10th update for my project pan for 2022. So I'm doing this in the Team Project Pan style, very similar to how Kat's doing her project, so I'm focusing pretty much exclusively just on face makeup items. So let's get straight into the update. The first item is my setting spray. It's the Porefessional Super Setter by Benefit. This has not changed since the last update. I talked about this in my last video that this is going to Florida with me, which is coming up very soon. Maybe by the time you see this, I will be in Florida at that point. So yeah, this has not changed because it's literally been sitting in my stuff that's been packed for the past month. If you didn't know, if you haven't been following me for a while, I was supposed to go to Florida, then the hurricane happened, so trip got moved. So yeah, last month this was 30.28 grams, still 30.28 grams, so that's a difference of 0. Next up is my primer, and I have a spoiler in my buys and buys. I didn't realize that this was still going, and I kind of was like, oh yeah, and you already know that this is an empty. No, you didn't really know that this was an empty, but it's an empty if you watch my buys and buys. This is the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Primer. It's just a small one, and it was already pretty much mostly used anyway. So I did finally finish this up, so that means I am going to roll in a new primer. All of the new things that I roll in, I will talk about at the end. This was fine. I don't think, out of the 3, I've pretty much decided I like the regular one the best. It was okay. It's kind of like a little bit thinner than the regular putty primer. It is luminous. It almost leans a little yellowy. Again, it was fine, but I just don't really feel like, if I'm going to use a putty primer, I just want it to be normal. I don't really need it to be luminous or matte. Just normal is fine. So last month this was 10.61 grams. It's finishing at 9.82 grams, so that's a difference of 0.79 grams. In total, when I rolled this in the project a couple months ago, I used a total of 2.59 grams. Next up is my first foundation. This is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear in 435 Rose Vanilla. Moving along on this, I can't really tell where it is now. It's somewhere at the bottom. I haven't drawn a line. I'm going to see if I can maybe shine a light through it, but it's like down here somewhere. It's close to the bottom. It's really starting to like sputter when I'm trying to like press and get some stuff out. So this could be done by the next update. If not, it'll definitely be done by the end of the year. I don't know if I can open this. I've tried to like turn it already and I can't. And if my memory serves me correctly, which it rarely does, I feel like Makeup by Mariella, she had the same product in a project pan and couldn't get this, maybe not even a project pan, but was close to finishing it and couldn't get this off either. That could be crazy. If you have this product and you can get the lid off easily, let me know. Like, I just twisting it. Oh, yeah, no, just twisting it. It twists, but it doesn't pull up. And I'm afraid to like do that and then foundation everywhere. I really enjoy this foundation. I will repurchase this one. I've already repurchased this particular shade twice now. I probably will repurchase this shade again. I feel like out of the shades, I have this shade and I have 415, and this one just really works for me. So last month this was 82.99 grams. It's now 79.22 grams. So that's a difference of 3.77 grams. It is, out of the 2 of my project, it's the only one I'm using right now. But I have been playing with some other foundations. If you watch previous videos, I've talked about, I use generally about 5 grams of foundation a month on average. This was a little bit less because I've been playing with some other foundations. And as I mentioned, I have a second foundation in this project. This is the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer in the shade Sand. Just like the setting spray, this has been sitting in a bag in a box, just waiting to go to Florida. So the weight on this one has also not changed. It was 22.43 grams last month, still 22.43 grams, so a difference of 0 grams. Again, this one's close to being done. It's one of the reasons why I've just left it in the project, because potentially I could finish this by the end of the year, and I might just try and do that. We already have another empty in this project. So this is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser Dark Circles. This is in the light shade, and this is done. This is my concealer, and I have finally called it. The bottom like doesn't look any different than it did in the previous photos. Like you can't see any difference, but I think I was just kind of using stuff that was sort of building up on the top, and I finally hit a point where I was like, yeah, it's done. I've used as much out of this as I can. Again, this is a repurchase. Again, I will probably repurchase this in the future. Do I have another one of these? I'm trying to recall if I have another one of these or not. Maybe not. But I kind of want to purchase the brightening one because I think that works a little bit better for me. A lot of brightening products have a pink undertone, and I have pink undertones, so they just almost like match my skin tone pretty well. So yeah, I do like this product. I think what it is about this product that makes it work is that it's thin, but it still has enough pigment that it covers. Like, it's just a good in between. It's not too thick and it's not drying. It's not too watery. It's not too thick. It's just a like super in between product. And I think that's why it really works for a lot of people and why it's so popular. I also do think the mechanism of the little sponge tip helps with that a little bit. It helps you only use a certain amount. I think if you had a doe foot, you could potentially apply too much. I think it almost limits how much you apply. That's a theory, not a proven tested fact. But yeah, this one is done. So last month it was 28.41 grams. It's finishing at 20.2 grams. That's a difference of 0.21 grams. In total, when I rolled this in, has this been in since the beginning? I think this has been in since the beginning. I've used 4.15 grams. Next up is my powder foundation. I haven't taken the photos yet, so I don't know if this is really gonna look any different or not. I feel like physically looking at it, I mean, I'm starting to see the next ring. Like, I can see the dent of it, not the like actual ring, like the metal. So I know I'm getting through this, but I still don't think I'll finish this by the end of the year. I'll be close. I might end up repressing it at the end of the year, but I don't think I will finish it by the end of the year. It's a fine compact foundation. I've talked about that this doesn't exist anymore, so it's not like I would repurchase it. It's very similar to other very simple, like basic ones, like the CoverGirl one. I feel like if I could compare it to anything, it would be like the CoverGirl pressed foundation powder, at least from memory anyway. So last month this was 45.89 grams. It's now 45.35 grams, so that is a difference of 0.54 grams. We have another finished item. So I was working on a single shadow in this palette. That's the NYX Ultimate Shadow Palette in Warm Neutrals. This was in a Pan That palette 2 years ago, and I was working on this sort of like light golden shade in here, and it's done. She is done. Somehow too, I hit pan on this guy. I did kind of use a couple of these. I think I used this guy. I think that like the pan was there. There was just like the tiniest bit of pigment that was covering it, but now there's like this tiny little, it is like the smallest pan of pans. Can you see that? It's so tiny. And yes, my nails are kind of crazy right now. So yeah, like I hit pan unintentionally. When does that ever happen? Never. I've talked about maybe decluttering this palette at some point. I'm not decluttering it yet because now I have some like motivation and momentum. I do want to work on this one. I'm not going to do it now though because it's conflicting, very much directly conflicting with the shade that is in my Pan That palette in the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, so I don't want to work on this. But I definitely won't want to finish this. It'll be super satisfying to have like this row clear. And mentally I'm thinking like I could potentially finish this half. Like I feel like these, like this one's already repressed. That looks full, it's not full, it's repressed. And like, yeah, I feel like there's an end in sight on like this half of it, and that would be super satisfying to finish half this palette. So yeah, so that is rolling out, and I'm not rolling in any new eyeshadow, like single eyeshadows into this project. There's only 2 months left. I have my Pan That palette to work on, and I've talked about in that project that I've got a million other pans or palettes to like play with before the end of the year, so it's just not worth it to try and struggle and finish another shadow. Even though I probably could do it, I just won't enjoy it, so it's not worth it for me. So this is rolling out. So last month this was 95.46 grams. It's now 95.37 grams, so that's a difference of 0.09 grams. And in total I used 0.38 grams to finish up that eyeshadow. So next up is my bronzer, and it's the Tower 28 Bronzino bronzer in West Coast, and you can even see it through the lid that I hit pan. And it's like a large pan, and that pan is expanding like a black hole. It is just engulfing everything. It is so fast. Very shortly after I filmed my last update, I was saying like I'm really close. I don't know how close. I don't know when I'll hit pan, but I know I'll hit pan. I hit it very soon after my last update, and I actually stopped using this because I was going through it so quickly. And this is one of my newer-ish products. I got this last spring, like 2021 spring, and I was like, wow, I could like potentially finish this by the end of the year. I don't really want to finish this by the end of the year. I'm not super motivated. I like this product. I'd like to have it a little bit longer in my life. I only have 2 cream bronzers right now. I have this one and I have the NARS one. The NARS one is huge. That one's gonna last me till like forever. But I'd like to spread this one out a little bit. I do like to use this more in like summertime. It's got a bit of a gold shift to it. So I'm actually going to pull this out. So this is the second bronzer I've decided to pull out of this project for a completely different reason than the other one. I could easily finish this, but I want to savor it a little bit and work on pretty much. So this bronzer and my NYC bronzer both have pan in it, and like it's both large pan. Like NYC bronzer, that one's got a really good pan in it. Will be pretty easy to finish. The rest of my bronzers are like full. Like they're not even, there is no pan in like near future for any of them. And so I wanted to work on one of those bronzers instead to start working on like some of my other bronzers. I actually don't have too many, and most of them are pretty new. So yeah, like sorry, long explanation, but this is getting pulled out and I will pull in a new bronzer, which I'll talk about at the end. So last month this was 38.67 grams, excuse me. It's now 38.34 grams. That's a difference of 0.33 grams. And in total I used 0.09 grams. So pretty much each update, like I said, I only used this 3 months. But yeah, I used like 0.3 grams each month. Next up is my Annabelle blush duo in Doll Face. And this is a repressed blush into a CoverGirl compact. I'm being super suspenseful, it's not done yet. But it's so close. Guys, I'm gonna finish a blush this year. I know it. I know it. I can taste it. I can feel it, and I am excited. This is really, really close to being done. I don't think I'll finish it next update, but by the end of the year, I definitely will be done this. I've enjoyed it. Like I've talked about, it's pretty much the blush I'm wearing now, pretty much the main blush you see me wearing in 90% of my videos this year. It's a beautiful blush, but I just want to finish a blush. And I'll be so happy to actually have finished a blush. For some reason, I think the blush is probably the hardest product for me to finish. Everything else, doable. Blush, really hard. So yeah, sorry. My brain, I'm just like, I'm so excited. So last month it was 58.11 grams. It's now 57.85 grams. So that's a difference of 0.26 grams. Next up is my highlighter. This is the Milk Makeup highlighter in Lit. I haven't done my pictures yet, so I don't know exactly what this looks like in comparison to how it did before, but it's real tiny. But I can just kind of tell looking visually at it that it's not going to be done by the end of the year, which is fine. Like I said, I like this product. It would have been nice to have a highlighter finished, but kind of like the Tower 28, I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to rush it. I like the product, so there's no need to force it or rush it. But I think this is something that I can finish up. It'll probably be finished up pretty early next year. Like I could say like February, March, it will be done. I'm not sure if I'm going to just roll this into next year's project pan or if I'll just like keep it aside but focus on it. Like, you know, you have those back pocket items that you know you're working on that'll be done, but you just don't want to bother putting in a project. This one might be one of those. So last month this was 16.61 grams. It's now 16.04 grams. So that is a difference of 0.57 grams. Next up is my Cleo Noir black eyeliner. Again, this brand, don't know anything about it. But this guy is moving along. Look how teeny tiny that is. I have no issues or concerns or qualms about finishing this. And I do think it will be finished by the end of the year. I'm confident in that, which is fine because it's not a great eyeliner. Creamy goes on really nice, really easy, really smoothly. Doesn't dry down, so it half disappears and half just like blends everywhere and becomes a hot mess at times, depending on how you've applied it and depending on how sweaty you are that day. Like, it's not a great eyeliner. But again, it applies nice. It looks nice. It's great for like short periods of time. I'm glad that I haven't been like outside in like super rainy weather with you. Well, I wouldn't put this on if I was because I just know it wouldn't last. But yeah, it's fine and it will be done. So another item that's close to being done. So last month this was 4.69 grams. It's now 4.65 grams. So that's a difference of 0.04 grams. And last up in the existing list of items before we get into the new stuff that's rolling in is the Annabelle lip liner in Spice. I have sharpened this since last update, so I know it's going to be smaller. I'm pretty sure. Yes, I have sharpened this since last update. I feel like I haven't used it a whole lot though. I felt like at the beginning of the month I used it a lot, and then I feel like the past couple of weeks I've really been leaning into the Colourpop Grunge lip liner. I'm loving that liner. Like, where has it been all my life? I mean, it's been in my collection for years, but I don't know, for some reason we've just clicked this year. This was our moment. This is our time. So this guy's taken a little bit of a backseat because I've enjoyed playing with that lip liner. But I still have used it, and like I said, I've sharpened it, so the weight's gone down. Last month it was 2.33 grams. It's now 2.26 grams, so that's a difference of 0.07 grams. And now we are going to roll in the new items to replace. So I have 3 things that I'm replacing. 2 empties, 1 just like in and out, and then I didn't replace the brow product last month. I kind of was waiting. So we have a brow product that we're going to roll into. So first up is the primer. So I'm just going to go with one of these. I've been playing with some of my primers, and I just felt like, you know what, we're just going to roll in this guy. They're pretty small. I'll probably have this done by the end of the year. It's not full at all. I don't think I'll have it done by next update. Maybe, I don't know, potentially. It's the e.l.f. Putty Primer Mini, and this is just like the basic one. Like I said, out of all of them, I think I like this one the best. The Luminous one is just a bit thinner. I feel like the matte one, I need to play with the matte one a little bit more, but I feel like the matte one's a little bit stiffer. And this one just is like, again, it's like the Goldilocks. It's the in-between one, so it works. So yeah, so that's the primer that I'm rolling in for this next couple of months. Concealer, I'm going to roll in this guy. This is actually not a straight up concealer. This is more of a color corrector. It's the Benefit Boing Brightening Concealer, so it's that sort of peachy. I can wear this on its own because my skin tone is so pink, but this also can go under other concealers. So I have like a twofold with using something like this, because I can just use it on its own, or I can work on also like, or just play with other concealers on top of this. So that's why I kind of wanted to put this in. Again, I've already hit pan. I feel like this must have been in another project. I don't think I'll finish this by the end of the year. I don't see myself finishing this by the end of the year, but yeah, I thought it was a good product to roll in because it's nice and small. I'll be able to visually see some progress, or at least I'll feel like I got some good progress on a concealer. It's hard rolling something in this close to the end of the year, because like, do you roll something in that's close to being done and have it finished in a couple months, or do you start with something that you're going to continue on next year, or do you just like say, like I'm not going to do anything, or I'm just going to pick something because I want to use it? Like, there's a lot of factors to think about when you're rolling something in this late in a like calendar year for a panning project. So if you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know that I was going to roll this guy in. This is the Winky Lux Unibrow Universal Brow Pencil. I've had this in projects before. This is a never-ending product. I don't intend to finish this. This is in the camp of, well, I was using it in another project, and it was specifically picked because of that, like the never-ending thing. Something interesting about this, though, is this broke. So that could change the trajectory of this product now. I talked about having this to the death, but I might not. For reasons like that. It's fine. I salvaged it. Get back in there. Get in your home. Get in your home. So, yeah. So there's that. So I'm not going to measure this one lengthwise anymore, because, like, that's annoying, which is kind of annoying because it is generally where I do start to see the difference, because the weights, I never see the difference. I do have a weight change on this, though, because this was in another project last month. It finished at 9.02 in that project. It's currently 9 grams. So I have used 0.02 grams since that last project finished last month, or early this month, I guess, when I'm filming this, early October. So yeah, like this is a product that I'm just going to use for the next couple months just to get some more use out of it, but it's definitely not getting carried into a project for next year, at least not at the beginning of the year, because this guy, it's not a good product to pan because it's super frustrating. And then because I'm rolling out that Tower 28 bronzer, I need to roll in a new bronzer. So I'm going to roll in this guy. Let's put it the right way up. This is the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer. It's just a mini. I got this in September of 2019. It's one of my oldest bronzers. So the NYC bronzer that I talked about that's like on its way out probably will be in my project pan next year because I do want to finish that one up. The other one from 2019 I have is the Too Faced Natural Lust Bronzer. So that big one that was in one of my other projects. But this guy has had not a whole lot of love. You can see looking at it, not a whole lot of love. It's very pigmented, so it's going to be interesting using this over the next couple months. And it's a bit dark, so as I get paler, it's probably not the best bronzer for me to use. So it'll be interesting just playing with it. I feel like I just haven't given it very much love, so I thought it might be a good product to roll in right now. And this falls in the camp of, I might roll this into next year. Maybe not right away, but I might roll it into a project next year. That is my update for my project pan for 2022. I've been kind of going through my list of like what I finished and all that kind of stuff. This might be my most successful project pan ever. Like, I am really excited to do the finale of this, although it's probably going to be long. That's how good this has been. I have a feeling though, and again, kind of mentally thinking about products and life cycle and things, I feel like this year I had a lot of items that were like closer to being done, whereas last year I really didn't have that. So I feel like with the cycle of products, like it does take a couple of years. So next year might not be as satisfying because I have, like I said, the bronzers. Most of my bronzers are pretty full. So I might be able to use up the couple that I've already talked about, but then that's it. Like the rest of them, they all have a long way to go after that. So I think it's just like the nature of like, you know, not every year can be a good year, because if it's a year that I've been using a lot of full products that are pretty new, they're just not going to finish. Where if it's a year like this year where I've had a lot of products that are older that had definitely had a lot of progress on them already, like it was just like, let's get them moving out, which, yeah. Anyway, I'm like spoiling my own finale. I'll talk about all of that then. So yeah, I hope you like this update. If you did, feel free to give a little thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel here in Toronto, Canada. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye.